Hey folks, Luxinda Swirl here. We are going to try another wrapping of a tumbler. In this case, I'm not going to make the skin out of acrylic pour. That is not what we're doing. We are doing a tissue paper wrap around, this is a 20-ounce skinny straight, meaning no taper from top to bottom. Totally flat shot, same diameter and circumference here as here. There's the top, there's the bottom, they are the same. And I was at Dollar Tree this morning and I found some really pretty tissue paper. It came as part of a set, all different silver dots, silver sparkles, silver sayings. And I went for the sheet that has just silver snowflakes and some glitter all over it. I thought this would be beautiful. I'm not even going to paint the mug. Normally I might, to bring out the pattern even more, I might start by spray painting my tumbler white, flat white. But in this case, I actually think putting it over metal like this will be kind of cool because of the silver snowflake. I could turn out to be wrong, but I think it'll look nice. So I have already cut the sheet. I unfolded the whole package. I cut the sheet so that I have more than enough to wrap around and cover both ends, and then I will cut off the excess after I start doing the Mod Podge to attach everything. And hopefully this will work. It's the same basic principle as the skins I've wrapped around, and it's also the same basic principle as a fabric covered cup, which we will be doing in another video, because I have some really pretty fabrics off of Etsy that I want to try using on a tumbler. But today we're doing tissue paper. Cleaned up that mess, we're back to try again. I have more of the same pattern. I also have a second sheet of just white. I don't know if that'll make any difference whatsoever. It may complicate things, but this tissue paper is so thin. The Mod Podge was just seeping right through, and it may still do that, but I'm hoping there might be a little more strength involved by using 2 layers. And I've taken the towel away because the towel was adding a texture to the paper as I rolled the cup and the paper over the towel. So we're just gonna, whoops, I'll put it this way so I can use my hand. Just going to try and do things tiny bit differently, same basic concept. Okay, first layer is on. We have some overlap, but we're going to deal with that after the first layer of Mod Podge has dried. So, hang tight, we'll be right back. All right, we are back. The first layer of Mod Podge has dried underneath the tissue paper. Here's my overlap flap. I'm going to leave that alone. Now we are going to put Mod Podge over the top. And I think this is going to be even more precarious. This is supremely thin tissue paper. I saw a video, and I'll link to it below, of another lady who did this with great success. And she said she got her pattern tissue paper at Dollar Tree specifically, and I got mine at Dollar Tree, but hers looks like it's a lot thicker and more durable. This is thinner than onion skin. So I'm a little nervous about this. I've already ripped one and had to start over. This is our second attempt here, my second attempt. So I'm going to be very, very, very super gentle when I'm applying this layer on top as well. But I do want to get the whole thing covered with Mod Podge, because then when that layer of Mod Podge dries, it will basically harden up the tissue paper, so it's a little less delicate and we can work with it and straighten our flap or cut off our straight flap and get our edges to meet up and all of that. Okay, another layer of Mod Podge down. I am now going to use a paper towel holder, also from Dollar Tree. If you, let's see if I can do it. If you slide it up like this and then slide your hand out, you have a nice drying stand for your tumbler. I'm just going to leave that there to dry, and we'll be back again. Okay, we are back. I am going to endeavor to clean up this part of the tissue paper wrap where I have my overlap. It's not going to be beautiful, I'm afraid. Everything's dry, but it's kind of messed up. This tissue paper, like I said, is so thin. But I'm going to give it a shot. We're going to see what we can do to clean up some of it anyway, so it's not, you know, flapping around and looking this awful. So I will take my ruler and put my glasses on and get my X-Acto pen again, or X-Acto knife again, and make a nice clean line, hopefully all the way down. Okay, and now try, if I can, to take off the excess. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be perfect or beautiful, but I'm also not really sure you can tell because this is such a mess. There we go. Yeah, that's not particularly gorgeous there, is it? No. Again, resin with a lot of rainbow alcohol sparkles in it might come to our rescue with some of this ugliness. Okay, so now I'm going to put on another layer of Mod Podge, and we're just going to keep going from there. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm going to complete the project because I want to see how it turns out, what it looks like. I want to learn from the experience. Maybe I just won't be doing tissue paper wraps unless I can find some really high-end tissue paper that has more weight to it. Which is a shame. I mean, when she said she got hers at Dollar Tree, I got all excited because, you know, that's kind of my budget range. But I don't have any better tissue paper on me right now, so we're just going to keep going and see how this turns out. It will be, if nothing else, a learning experience. Oh, I thought I had my brush. Hang on a sec. Or maybe this is the time to try and trim the top and the bottom with my edging tool. Yeah, okay, let's do that next, and then I'll do another layer of Mod Podge. Get out my cup edger. I will, again, link to everything below. It has a razor blade. And what I'm going to do to start is take my X-Acto knife, whoa, that was close, and use it to kind of saw off the excess here, going around the lip of the cup, the top edge. And the reason I do that is so I'm putting this down flat onto my edging tool so that I really do get a straight edge all the way around, a straight cut. I'm going to take a couple washers out here means I probably have to go get my screwdriver. No, maybe not. This isn't so tight, but I can't do it by hand. So this is how you change the height in these things. They come with a bunch of washers that raise and lower the height of the razor blade. So you take that off, and to lower the to lower the razor blade, you take some of the washers off both sides so it's even. So I'm going to drop it down to 3 washers on each side. There we go. And I keep the washers in the box where I store the tool in the first place. I have a lot more washers. They send along a lot, so you can raise the level of the blade by adding more washers to each side, and you can lower it by taking them out. Okay, now we put this back on. Oops, carefully. Like that. And then screw the top nuts back on. And the easiest way to tighten this is to use a screwdriver to hold the screw tight while you tighten that, but this will do for the moment. All right, so I have this. I'm going to start at the seam here just so I can keep track of where I've gone around and where I haven't. And you push the cup against the razor blade and turn it. And because of the Mod Podge, which has stiffened up and given a little extra strength to the tissue paper, you are hopefully going to get a straight cup, or a straight cut down to the cup all the way around. And then we can, if lucky, pull the whole thing off and have a nice clean edge there. Okay, now we'll see if that worked or not. There we go. Okay, to clean up a couple spots here, but basically that worked pretty well. All right, so let's go ahead and do the bottom. First, I'm going to try and cut off the extraneous stuff so it'll sit flat on here. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, so now it'll sit flat. Clean everything off here. Okay, set it flat. Start on the back seam just to keep track of where I am. Push against the blade and rotate the cup. Pushing and rotating as you go. So you're cutting the nice, even, clean line all the way around. Okay, now let's see how well this is going to come off. Not too bad. A little cleaning up to do here, but that's okay. Overall, that went pretty well. That looks pretty nice. What do you think? Not too bad. Good enough that, yeah, we're going to keep going. So I'm going to put on another layer of Mod Podge, let it dry. In fact, I may put on a whole bunch more layers, let them dry in between. and then bring you back when it's time to, when I think it's time to put it on the turner and coat it with epoxy resin. All the layers of Mod Podge are to seal this. You can see here, I don't think it got Mod Podge between the tissue and the cup. I think that's why it looks white here. I originally thought that was wet Mod Podge that hadn't dried yet, but I don't think it is. So I don't know if that's going to go away or not. I don't know. It may not. But again, we are just going to soldier on and see how this turns out. Anyway, so the multiple layers of Mod Podge are to seal all the paper in so that when I do put the epoxy resin on, it doesn't get down into and underneath the tissue paper, which would make for sort of giant looking oil spots, you know, oil slicks or big wet spots that don't look like they belong. So we're sealing it with multiple layers of Mod Podge to avoid the epoxy getting anywhere near the tissue paper, just over top of it, on top of the Mod Podge. That's what we want. So here we go. Okay, and then I slip it back on my paper towel holder and put it aside. Okay, we're back. I video recorded the beginning of this tutorial yesterday, so I've already forgotten what I said. I may have said, I'll bring you back for the big reveal, or I'll bring you back for the epoxy resin portion, in which case this is extra and I may not even show it. I am going to keep layering on Mod Podge, so I bring you back for that. Because here I am, and here we are. And it's going to take many, many layers of Mod Podge, so I figured, you know, I'd accentuate that by showing you another one. Okay, and then we put it back on our $1 paper towel holder. And we're back. Here we are with my tissue paper tumbler. And I have to tell you, while I think the overall effect is gorgeous, I like how this turned out. I think it's very pretty. If you pull it in, you can definitely see problems. I see places where I don't think there was Mod Podge between the tissue paper and the cup, so it looks a little lighter. I see, well, I saw them earlier. Where, yeah, I see wrinkles. You see the wrinkles? I see wrinkles, definitely, in the tissue paper. But, you know, as with other things at a distance, again, focus. At a distance, it looks beautiful. The little bit, the glitter that was already on the tissue paper is nice and sparkly. The rainbow alcohol ink I put in the resin is nice and sparkly. And overall, I think this is really, really beautiful. One of the things I was going to consider doing with this cup now is putting a great big monogram initial on it. I think that would look, you know, get some really curly-Q font and put a big single letter there. I think that would look gorgeous. You could put a Christmas saying there as well. You can see where the seam was. It's just a little, oh, right here. It's just a little thicker. Even though I tried to pull it apart and get the ends to meet up, it didn't work out. So there's an extra layer of tissue paper right there, and it does show. But again, I don't think it's horrible looking. I think it's beautiful. Anybody else tried this with tissue paper? I am reluctant to do it again until I can find some much higher quality, as in thicker tissue paper. I think this is just so thin as to be almost, like I said, It's like air with a little printing on it. It's not enough substance. Even with that, I think this turned out really, really pretty. I put a little snowflake sticker on the bottom just for something extra. So, folks out there, have you tried tissue paper wrapping? Let me know if you've got any tips or tricks. I'd love to hear them. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next video.